Hey everybody, I want to welcome you to this week's edition of Fridays at 5. I'm obviously not here because I'm finally taking a vacation. But thanks to the wonderful nature of technology, we're still able to record an episode for y'all. This week we'll be tackling the misguided effort of Stanford doctors to tackle gun violence. And we'll take a look at what Governor Brown has signed into law. But first, Heather, why don't you tell us about our wonderful great business affiliates this week?
Thanks, Rick. I'm here today with Christy, who owns LAX Ammunition here in Orange County. Thank you so much for having us here today.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about your shop?
Well, we opened a little over a year ago. We are Orange County's only ammunition-only store. We are packed with over 50,000 pounds of ammo, and we love supporting our Second Amendment community.
So last time I was here, you and I had a conversation, and you told me a story that I can't stop thinking about today, and I just think it's so important for everyone, especially young women, to hear, and I was hoping you could share a little bit about what you told me last time I was here.
Yeah, so I heard a car pull up. I looked out the window, saw a luxury black vehicle, didn't really think anything of it, and then I heard a very deliberate attempt for someone to open the door. And I knew we weren't expecting anybody. And so I did the protocol that my father had taught me and went and got our family's firearm from the lock safe. Minutes ticking away, I decided finally, I don't want to shoot this guy. No gun owner ever wants to actually shoot somebody. So I got on the intercom and I said, "Can I help you?" And I'll never forget it. He said, "Oh, you're home." And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Your parents sent me to come check on you." And I knew that was a lie. And I said, "My parents are here." And he said, "Oh, well then, have them come to the door." And I said, "No." And I said, the police are on their way. And I said, "Have you had a chance to take a look at our door?" And he said, "It's a door. Why would I look at your door?" And I said, "Just take a second, look at the door." And there was a big NRA sticker on the door.
Nice.
And he said, he went quiet and he said, "Do you have a gun, little girl?" And I said some choice words. And I said, "If you come through this door, you'll certainly find out I'm not little and I do have a gun."
Do you ever look back and think what would have happened had you not had a firearm?
I might not be standing here today, to be honest. 7 minutes is a long time. Every second feels like an eternity, and every second counts. And so don't tell me that 2 minutes is no big deal and that I can wait.
To tell her, when seconds count, police are there in minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man. Well, and then you have a little girl, and I imagine you're teaching her gun safety now.
We do. Right now she's only 4. So right now I do what my father always taught me, which is unless it's your parents taking you to a range or at the house, teaching you about gun safety. If it's a friend, you never stay in the room if another kid pulls out a gun and says, "Hey, I want to show you something really cool. Look, I was able to get into, my parents' closet or something, and look what I found." You walk away. You leave the room and you go tell an adult. As she gets older, my plan is to teach her how to shoot a BB gun, then go to a 22 and eventually a 9 and have her hopefully work here one day.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having us, and thanks for all you do for CRPA. We really appreciate you being an awesome business affiliate, and thanks again. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, Heather.
Heather, great job as always. In the news, last Monday, the Bay Area once again thinks it should dictate not only our state's policy when it comes to gun rights and the Second Amendment, but those of the nation. And this isn't something new that they're trying to do. Stanford University and the University of California, San Francisco are making the argument that gun laws must be treated from a medical point of view and not as a legal issue anymore. This is nothing new. This has been done through the Veterans Administration under Obama when they were trying to get veterans, unbeknownst to them, to provide information that yes, they own a gun and yes, they have these things. Again, this is the Bay Area going after this, and this is going to do absolutely nothing to solve the gun violence that's currently plaguing many large cities across the country. It's only going to victimize gun owners like yourself and myself and their communities, which again solves nothing when it comes to doing gun violence. But more importantly, I always tell my staff and people I meet and things, follow the money. Did Stanford and UC San Francisco suddenly just come up with this idea? My argument, no. If you follow the money, these groups are led by anti-gun radicals with no understanding of firearms and are being funded by the typical groups that are trying to take away your rights to the Second Amendment. We need to come together and stop this. You need to spread the news. And please, don't give this information out to doctors in these schools from Stanford and UC San Francisco. We have to teach them they need to uphold the present laws on the book, not create more maniacal ways to get at our firearms. Now I'd like to take it to Kevin Small to talk about our latest updates coming out of Sacramento.
Thanks, Rick. This week in legislative news, Governor Brown signed Assembly Bill 2103 in an effort to curb the issuances of CCWs here in the state. This only creates a larger government bureaucracy at the state level and makes the workload more difficult for sheriffs and other law enforcement. And in addition to that news, the anti-gun activists are at it again as they've begun targeting other gun shows across the state, most recently in Ventura. I attended this meeting on the 24th, and thankfully, with the support of our members and other pro-gun advocates, we were able to show strong support for the Ventura Gun Show, and we will continue to support this show until it's secure. We cannot afford to bow to these activists, and that is something that we need your help with in November. So be sure to go to the polls, be sure to show up at the meetings, and be sure to tell your friends about the fight that we have for the right to keep and bear arms here in California. Back to you, Rick.
Hey, Kevin, thank you for a great job. And now to all of you, I'd like to remind you to all look at our newly released Pro-Second Amendment voting guide that is coming out. Our staff has worked for months to vet these candidates, to check their voting records and see who truly has been supporting you. Not just a person that claims it, but a person that's actually there fighting on the front lines. Yes, some of the grades may look a little harsh to you, but those grades are based in fact and not in emotion. Be sure to send out this guide to all your friends, family, colleague members, neighbors, everyone, and get them to vote Pro 2A this November. As always, I want to thank you for joining us on this episode of Fridays at 5. For more great 2A content, always follow us on social media, and the links are always in the description down below. Be sure to go to YouTube and subscribe to CRPA TV and ring that notification bell to make sure you never miss our updates. Thank you for watching. Thank you for standing with us in the fight, and be sure to tune in next week.